How's it going, everybody? I'm Jacob Alexander Tackett, and I'm actually going to be reading Smiles, Tears, and Thoughts Behind the Front Desk of This Vet's Office by Efroim Gurman, brought to you by Alexander Gurman, so thank you for having me. I will be reading the passage, Dr. Marat. One person who really dedicated to the veterinary profession was Dr. Marat. He became friends many years ago when I was a young researcher, and Marat practiced veterinary medicine at the zoo in our native city. This provocational zoo had very professional equipment, almost empty drug shelves, and terrible living conditions for numerous animals. Most creatures had come to the zoo without any preliminary planning. The city was some kind of service camp for the big seaport and sailors all over the world who just brought exotic animals there. So, in treating these animals, Marat was not only lacking special equipment, but also any manuals for the animals' treatment. It was before the internet era, so Marat had no opportunity to seek advice about how to treat such creatures. Marat had to develop his own methods in order to save the lives of animals completely unknown to the Russian veterinary field. Monkeys, kikajaws, snakes, crocodiles, etc., etc. And mostly he did this rather successfully. I think this main weapon in the struggle for the well-being of these unusual animals was his love. Sometimes I helped him as a biologist, psychologist, and biochemist with access to various drugs at the laboratory I worked at, some military pharmaceutical research centers during the time. I became his advisor. I used my general knowledge of how organisms worked and what evolutionary similarities existed between common and exotic animals to help him negotiate his new terrain. To be honest, this was not at all one-sided. Sometimes I got the advantage from our friendship too. Marat let me test new drugs on zoo animals. Please keep that a secret. Thus, I got from him a chance to try new antidepressants, sedatives, and contraceptive agents on foxes, wolves, and even lions. Later, this preliminary testing was helpful to me in developing methods for controlling the behavior of non-domestic animals on minks, foxes, and other fur farms. As I remember, these probes also allowed me to discover the appetite seemingly effect of Valium-like drugs. My discovery came long before these effects became common knowledge, and although I did not gain any profit or even respect for it, it is still pleasing to my self-esteem. It seems to me all the animals at the zoo had tears in their eyes when Marat had to leave his position because his family decided to immigrate. Though he was a good-hearted vet with the ability to develop new medical approaches, Marat had little aptitude for learning a new language. So in his new home, the family moved to LA. Marat's first job was to clean cages at the zoo. There were many other ways to make a living in LA, even without English, but he preferred to be close to zoo animals. It took 10 long years before Marat started to understand English and to research some of the professional level. Finally, he passed all of the necessary tests, exams, and formal requirements to become a vet. California and later in Florida, he earned his biggest respect among those who needed his services. The engine for Matt's success was love for his profession, but not money. Thank you so much for having me.